Hi everybody. Well, this is Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday, the opening day of the twin season. Go Twins! We had a pretty good game the other night, coming back in the 8th and 9th inning. I'm looking for a big year from those Twins this year. Anyway, we're going to talk to you a little bit about a few things here. One of the first things I want to discuss with you is the trees in our park. As you know, they've been going around right now and they're cutting down a lot of the trees and cutting them down in pieces, picking them up. That's because of the emerald ash borer. It's probably a good idea. They're getting the parts, picking them up, putting them in the truck and getting them out of here. I just want to make one little clarification. In the notice that Tony sent out, the letter says here on this second paragraph, the fourth line, "We will not be replanting a tree for every tree removed, but rather will evaluate depending on number and location of trees already on your home site." Now, I've had a lot of people talk to me about this, and they sort of, from that wording, they sort of have the feeling that there's a pretty good chance they're not going to be replaced. Now, I felt that way myself. I went up to the office a few days ago and I talked to Tony about it, and that's incorrect. Tony informed me that the trees in front of your home, right out front, like if you've got a double wide or a single wide, and right in the front is a nice ash tree, they will be replaced. What they were referring to are some of the other trees on the side. Some of those will be replaced, some won't, I understand. But the ones in the front will be replaced, so you don't have to worry about that. While I was there, also talked to Josh, the maintenance man. I asked him what kind of trees they were going to put in, and they weren't sure. But I said, what size are they going to be? I hope we can get some pretty good sized trees so I don't have to be 150 when they get big. And he said, no, we're going to probably get an 1.5 to 2-inch tree, probably about 10 foot tall. And I said, I hope they're a deep rooted tree that will go down, because some of the trees that we have in here, the trees were kind of they came down and went out in our grass, made it very difficult to mow. And I said, I'd like the tree that has deep-rooted plants that goes down, and he assured me that they would probably do that. So I think we're in pretty good stead there. Okay. One other thing I must give the management here credit. We've got brand new toilets in the shelter, and over in the north shelter, the one where the handicap is, they've put in two nice little rooms there with 2 doors on. I think one is for equipment or something, but the one is a handicap, accessible. It's got bars on the wall. It's got a nice sink. You can wash your hands there. A brand new toilet, and they've done a good job. I also had mentioned to Tony that we have a person who lives right near there that's handicapped, and the ramp coming down, it was very difficult to get in there. The way the angle is going down and getting into the house, it's almost impossible. And Josh informed me that that's going to be all redone this year. So I think that's a plus. So I think this is some very good signs from our management, and we want to thank them. I think that's great. We really thank them. That's great. Okay, the second part of this I'd like to talk to you about a little bit about some legislation. This is the time of the year, you know, first part of January. We're in a long session this year, from first part of January all the way till sometime in May. The next year it's a short session, it's only about 6 weeks. So this year we're in session over at the Capitol. I've been over there quite a bit, and we have some bills we're trying to get in, and we have one bill that we're working on is the owners of the parks. The owners have a big association also, the landlords, and they all pay into this fund. They hire attorneys, they put forth legislation, and they have put in a bill for submetering. Now what that is putting in meters They want to put, they're talking about putting in meters so that the water would be measured and you would be paying for your use. Now, this in some ways would be great. For the senior citizen that's living alone, the widow, she's living there and only using 2,000 gallons a month, she's going to get a lower water bill. And of course, in the bill is made so that I think the rent would be dropped an appropriate amount, and then she would have a little lower bill to pay the water bill. She'd have her water bill, but rent would be reduced in that proportion. So that would be a very good plus for her. On the other hand, some other people in the park that have lots of flowers or plants or whatever, their water bill might go up. So this is a bill that has been put in. It's got some good language, and we, APEC, All Parks Alliance for Change, and our attorney has been working on making sure that this is working on the benefit of the park, of the homeowners in here, to make sure it's going to be to our, not a bad for us. We want to at least kind of break even on this thing. Now, we have an attorney that's gone up. I was at one of the meetings. It looks like there's a very good chance it's going to go through. There could be some changes in the writing, right up to the last minute. Sometimes they change a phrase, so anything I tell you today, it could be changed at the last minute. It could change just a little one way or the other. But I think there's a pretty good chance that this legislation will pass. However, if it's passed, that does not mean that our park is going to have sub-metering. That's very important. Does not mean that. It just means that the state law is there in case the owners have a park that they want to put it in. Now, I had mentioned this also to Tony, and she said at this time they have no plans whatsoever for sub-metering. She does not think there's going to be sub-metering. It could come in eventually, knowing Follett, they may change their mind down the road 2 years from now and do it. But as of right now, they're not planning on doing it. We're a couple other bills. This is one that we're putting in, is a dispute resolution bill and the manager background checks. Now, manager background checks, you probably wonder a little about that. Let me tell you just a little bit about it. Currently, there is no requirement that a background check be conducted of a prospective park manager. As a result, there's no guarantee that residents and their confidential information is in safe hands. That's very important. Whatever we talk to our managers, that should be very privileged information. And nobody should be forced to live in this uncertainty. And we know of parks. There's a park up north that's having some real problems in this. And we have a lady up there managing a park that's actually selling drugs in the park. And so that's one of the reasons this bill came forward. Another thing we're working on is the trust fund. As you know, we have the $12 we pay in for our trust fund in case anything would ever happen, they would close the park. We're going to try to get that amount increased from $8,000 for a double wide. We want to add another $1,000 onto it. It's going to cost you nothing extra. We're going to add another $1,000 onto it, we're hoping. And the park manager, owners won't have to pay it. This will actually come out of the trust fund that you're already paying into. But that's just possibly it's going to go through. We don't know, but we're working on it. And the last thing is the dispute resolution. This is a bill that was championed in Michigan. It's an incredible program. And when we have problems in a park and we need to get together with management and they won't sit down and talk with us, what this does is give us the right to take it to some type of a court proceedings where it's very short and low cost. That's the key. And we're going to be using, if it goes through it, we'll be working with the Office of Administrative Hearings, and the cost will be very minimal. And no small item is too small for the court. Just a very small thing you can even bring up, and they'll decide, and the cost will be minimal. Well, right now, I'm going to go into a little segment by my pickup. And we're raising funds in our association, and the reason we're doing that is for, in case we have to use this for the dispute resolution if it goes through, we're hoping to get enough funds, so maybe we can use some of that in certain instances to use for the dispute resolution. And that's about all I've got to say today. And have a good day. As we just want to talk to you a little bit about aluminum cans. I've got a red truck. I live in the 5th house north of the office. We are saving aluminum cans. If you want to get some cans, some like this, some of the bigger ones, bring them down to our house. Just set them alongside the truck anytime you want, and we're saving them up. And then when we get the truck full, we take it down and we sell the aluminum can. Now, the reason we're doing this is to build up our funds in our association, and that's for the future. And a little bit later, I'm going to talk about what we're going to plan on using some of this money for. It's for the good of the people in the park. We hope everybody will jump on board and save your aluminum cans. One other thing I might mention here, this spring we're going to have a trash day where everybody's going to be putting stuff out by the curbs. And if you've taken off your aluminum gutters and you want to get rid of that, let me know. Keep it alongside your house there and give us a call. I'll be glad to come over and pick it up. I have one gentleman I talked with yesterday, took all the off his house, and I'm going to pick them up this morning. After I unload this load here, I'm going to go get them and load them up, and that's going to bring in a few more dollars, and that's good for our association. So have a good day now, folks.